Thank you for joining me for another Quick Hits conversation. I'm Dr. Robyn. With me today, I have Dr. Jesse Carrie, Coach M J Tolan, and James Haile. And I want to ask the question, what's the difference between moving fast and rushing? Coach, can you kick us off?
Well, what's the hurry? I mean, let's just take it a step at a time. I saw the irony in that suggestion of a topic, and I think I'm going to go with the going fast is being highly motivated to get something done, whereas being in a rush could lend yourself to clumsy mistakes. I know in my own personal experiences, when we have this in our language, we rush to judgment. We even have rush hour. That's never a good thing. And of course, the Navy SEALs have a saying, which is kind of parallel to this. And it goes something like, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So when you take the steps, you take them the right way, you get it done the right way, it actually goes faster. But when you're in a rush, you can make some chaotic mistakes. So that's my take on it. Over to the panel.
Well, I think my take on that is moving fast is you've done some thinking and you also know the basic risks and you try to be as efficient as possible without all the bells and whistles. The difference with the rushing is there is no thinking, it's instinctual, and it's like taking a step into the abyss without knowing whether the pool has any water in it.
That's a good point. Yeah, so I kind of think similar to Jim there. It's just it's a matter of control. So if you're in control, you can basically go as fast as you want. Like you have rockets are going at, I forget what crazy speed it is, but rockets are going blazingly fast, but they're in control. But then if you do other things so you don't have the control, you could be going through something and say you're biking down a hill, and all of a sudden, it's going faster than that, you lose control. You're rushing because you're kind of panicking and you no longer have control there.
So how do you notice? Because I feel like just before this call, I went to put my headset on and it was tangled. And I only had a couple of minutes and I realized, okay, stop and pause and let me just untangle it. Because if I rush, it's going to get worse. How do you notice when you're rushing rather than moving fast?
Heartbeat. So you get into like a little panic mode, that you've gone down the wrong street. You need to stop, assess, and as both James and Jesse have said, think it over and then begin.
I think I agree with that. And I also think you get clumsy and you start worrying about what else is going to happen. How
do you notice that though?
Well, I think at certain points too, you get the issues, and like sort of as Jim was alluding to, there's these mistakes pop up when you're kind of going through there, and you realize it's the same thing with you, Robyn. You're mentioning, you go fast and it's you panic and it gets there, and go a little bit slower, or you get a bit more in control and stuff. You can kind of go through there, so you notice things are going smoothly, and kind of with MJ's Navy SEALs allegory there with the smooth is fast. So you're going through and you're paying attention to how things are going, it usually works out well. And if it goes if you're not really in there, then it's just like something is going wrong, and that's giving you the indicator that you're probably rushing.
Well, and it's interesting because I know that race car drivers kind of have this idea that if you feel like you're completely 100% in control, you're probably not going as fast as you could. You aren't on that edge between fast and going fast and rushing. I don't know how willing I am to push that edge. I don't want to crash headlong into the side.
Yeah,
I think it's a question of your personal risk and what you're doing. If you're working for somebody or yourself, you may work one way. If it's an emergency, then you're going to act differently.
That's interesting, because in an emergency situation, I can be so calm and so focused and move so fast, and it works just fine. Like I've been in situations where I have been life and death for other people, and I have really been like focused and on point, and it has been moving very fast and not rushing at all. But I've had other situations where I wasn't moving nearly as fast and it was just all thumbs.
Yeah, so I think that's those kinds of experiences give you that compass again to really know when you're rushing or being drawn into a rush situation versus when you're moving competently but faster than most to be able to get there. And that experience speaks to you. When I talked about your pulse or your heart rate, I know, for example, let's say we have a Zoom meeting to go to and at 1:00, and like you said, the wires get tangled and everything happens, and you tick tock, it's coming down. So you really have to be on point and you have to deliver. And so in order to do that, you have to assemble yourself to be able to perform in the way that you have to do to be able to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of reminded too, when you drive, you really, push the pedal to the metal. You can redline for a bit, and you're in a gear, and like you can hear the vehicle really fighting with that, and you're like, okay, I can. If you go for a certain amount of time, you can keep up that intensity, kind of in redlining it or red zoning it, and there you can go forward. But if you keep that for too long, you burn the engine out. But with experience, with if you know what you're working with enough, you can sort of see your experience you had there with your life and death situation, Robyn. When you get into these things, okay, if I'm in this situation, I can go to this red line and just be, it looks like I'm redlining, but I'm totally in control. And other people can be in that exact same situation. And it's just like, meter showing the same thing, but you're out of completely, you're out of rushing or you're out of control, and things to be have pretty bad consequences.
That's an interesting point, because thinking about that situation that I'm talking about, after it was over, like in the moment, on point, everything's fine. After it was over, I was shaking and in tears. I was a complete disaster. After I had everything under control, I then fell apart, which I think that shows the adrenaline and the cortisol and the on point. And then when it's over, your body goes, oh my, that was a disaster.
Right. It makes you a handy person to invite to any party as a standby.
No, don't do that to me. But I do think that's true, Jesse, is that when you can be in that red zone, when you can red line and kind of really push it, but you also need to know when to back off. And I think that noticing that, like, when is it over? Because if you live in that red zone forever, you'll definitely burn your body out, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to just segue to a different kind of application of this.
Please.
How many times have you or I or anyone been in a conversation with someone, maybe someone of endearment, and we've answered in a rush because we've been prompted to. And as a result of that, there's been absolute mayhem and catastrophe, and we've had to backpedal over. So I'll just throw that out to the panel and see if anybody's ever had that situation happen to them.
I think it's happened to everybody.
Yeah.
And is it possible to answer fast or answer in a rush? I don't think there's a difference when it comes to giving someone an answer that you're not ready to give.
Yes. I'll go back to the earlier points. In summary, fast is thoughtfully executed. Rush is chaotically delivered.
And you think that's true even in a conversation? Yeah, I think so. Because I think we think in three levels. We think in terms of instinct, which is reactionary. We think in terms of ego, which is self-centered. And we think in terms of focused objectives or goals. And sometimes we can be pushed into providing a response because of a higher authority. Either it's our ego or it's instinctive because the president said, I need an answer now. And you just give that answer without saying, hold on and let me think about it.
I think it takes a certain level of maturity to be able to say, you need to give me time to think about that.
Depends on the question. Where did that body come from?
Yeah, I agree with that. So
who's been eating my porridge?
So that is our 10 minutes. I'm going to cut us off there. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I agree. Going fast is thoughtful. Rushing is chaotic. Love that, Coach. Thanks for that little idiom right there. I appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you guys again real soon.
Thank you.